Hello everyone, I'm Kevin, otherwise known as Form BX257, your friendly neighborhood 1980s G.I. Joe reviewer. And today I'll be taking a look at a brand new item, something that you can buy right now. Backdrops for your toy displays from TOYHAX. Now you might recognize this one. I've had it on my Facebook page in many photos, and it's been used in some of my Blip TV reviews. Back then, it was better known as Toy Stages. As a matter of fact, their letterhead still says that, but they're now known as TOYHAX, and you can go onto their website, TOYHAX.com, and check them out there. Now, I had the benefit, for once, of being Canadian, and actually seeing this in person at a local toy show, and I was immediately impressed by their quality. So this isn't a free review sample. I actually bought this with my own money. As a matter of fact, recently I bought a few more. Again, on my own dime. So this is going to be an impromptu unboxing as well, just to see what a regular customer gets. Unfortunately, I can't comment on the speed of delivery. And from that, I mean from the end of the online checkout to this thing being at your door. I really can't honestly comment how fast that would take, because TOYHAX is from the same province that I am from, so this took really just like 3 days for me. I don't know what the average would be if you ordered this from the US. So let's open this thing up. Of course, you always want to cut away from yourself. That way you could avoid any internet warriors making comments on your videos. Of course, one of the important things about how this thing is boxed and packaged and delivered is, of course, because the toy backdrop is a cardboard piece. So it arriving in absolutely pristine condition is very much important. Now that's professional shipping for you. Everything's all divided up. With a bracer right in the middle. Awesome. Beautiful. Now let's take a look at the rest of this. Oh, we all know what this is. And not only do we have some backgrounds, but we also have some floor tiles for that specific background. This is the first background that I bought and fell in love with as soon as I saw it. Now, I don't blame anyone for thinking that, well, it's just a piece of cardboard, anybody can print that out on a color printer. Well, of course, it'd be really difficult for a regular person to print out something of this size seamlessly. But I really like the thickness of this cardboard that they've used here. Of course, the medium and small size backgrounds use a thinner cardboard, but of course they don't need it at this scale. At this scale, this thing would kind of warp under the under the thinness. Of course, if you take a look at the back, it's really very shiny. But on the front where it's printed, you can kind of see it in the light. It's very difficult, and obviously that's one of the reasons why it's sort of difficult, is because it's meant to be sort of laminated, but sort of anti-glare at the same time. I think they've really chosen a very good way of doing that. And even when you do see the glare from that, it still gives it a very high quality look, kind of like how blow-up photography paper is like. In addition to just the backgrounds, they do have suggestions as to what to use as floor tiles. Now these, again, are a very good quality paper actually. This really reminds me of regular photo paper. It's slightly thick, slightly almost plasticky, and has a very satin flat finish. While the floor tiles are extra and you don't have to buy these ones, you don't even have to buy these specific ones, you can buy different ones if you want. But this is how two of them just lined up together look like. And here's a display with some appropriate figures. As you can see, quite a few vehicles and figures can fit into a size like this. And the painting really reminds me of the cell animation backgrounds. Both the width and height for the medium-sized backdrops are perfect for in-shelf displays. Of course, I would only suggest using small to medium-sized vehicles to display with this background size. And here we have an Ikea Detolf shelf, the best bargain for your toy display needs. And while TOYHAX does make a background specifically to fit into the typical 14 by 15 inch spot, I've elected not to get one of those, mostly because of what I'm going to be displaying in here. And this is the smallest background they produce, slightly trimmed on top of that, and you can see there's quite a bit of space just left on top of there, versus how the Detolf size version of the background would have been. It would have been all the way up, and the explosion background would have actually been a bit more centered. Now, the Detolf version of this would be really good for, let's say, vehicles, because if you put like even a medium-sized vehicle, it's covering quite a bit of that. And this is actually kind of low. Like a real good-sized vehicle would have actually been kind of up here. So the raised explosion would have been quite a bit better. And of course, even though I'm going to be displaying this with like figures, if you have like a lot of like multiple figures, and you have something like this, which is yet another Detolf size product. Well, TOYHAX does not sell these though, but this is like a riser display. But I'm just going to have a few figures on here. Small, low vehicles also display quite well with this particular background, versus the larger one where the explosion would be almost above them rather than surrounding them. Thanks to the sturdiness of the cardboard and the fact that it's slightly laminated, I feel confident of putting these two figures blue tacked right onto there, and this makes for a great display as well. Well, that's all the time I have right now, please check out my Facebook page for more information and behind-the-scenes photos for these reviews. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for next time to see another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review. See you then.